Hey everyone, welcome. We're continuing our reading of this wonderful book for the book club. It is a compilation of different legends, myth, lore, history, anthropological understandings of many of the tribes throughout America. So, let's begin. We were dealing with the topic of the spirit world, the underworld, the ghosts, and how that factors into different tribal lore. So we're continuing on that same note. And if you have your copy, we're on page 431. Let's continue. Among the Tewa Pueblos, that's spelled Tewa, Pueblos, the newly dead soul wanders about in the world of the living, in the company of his ancestors. See, when I was little, if you would have told me that, I would have definitely believed you. Because people often wonder about that. As in, where do you do if you get stuck on this earth? Obviously now I have more of an Islamic understanding, so I don't hold that view. However, many would see this as something approachable. Kind of reminds you of the Day of the Dead in Mexico. For 4 days, during which time the village remains generally uneasy. Relatives fear that the soul will become lonely and return to take one of them with him. Now that's interesting. They have a sense of fear of like this ghost will get lonely and want to take someone if he can't find enough ancestors. The house itself must not be left unoccupied at any time during these 4 days in order to keep the soul from reoccupying it. 4 days, huh? That's interesting that they believed a soul could reoccupy a space, right? Now, there is something to say though about people's uneasiness to have a home where someone has died, right? You kind of feel like the residual energy is attached to that specific location. I know I've lived in a home where someone was shot to death on the front lawn, was in a bad neighborhood. Always had a creepy vibe whenever you sleep in the living room. And then the next door neighbor, somebody was also shot and killed there. Just a lot of violence. So people wonder, like, do the damned roam? Obviously, Islam. I have to learn more about what the Islamic perspective is, but from this particular Tewa Pueblo tribe perspective, they believe so. The soul is eventually released when the head elder utters a short prayer and reveals the purpose of the symbolic acts the relatives have performed. So a head elder utters a prayer, and that is something that can drive away any soul that tries to reoccupy a space. Notice that. And that is according to the Tewa Pueblo's tradition. Really highlights how the tribes had great respect for their old people. Today, there seems to be a way more age war going on, for better or worse. That's just something to note. We have muddied the water for you, the smoke. We have cast shadows between us, the charcoal. We have made deep gullies between us, the lines. Do not dare reach for even a hair on our heads. Rather, help us attain that which we are always seeking. Long life, that our children may grow abundant, game, the raising of crops, and in all the works of man, ask for these things for all, and do no more. And now you must go, for you are now free. Ugh, I got chills from that. That's something like an elder would say this sort of prayer, to tell a soul like, get out of here. You are free. Think about that. You are free. Onward. Go on. I like that. Don't touch a hair on our head. Now, this familiarity with the tribes is something I think we all crave. Long life. Want to see our kids grow. Abundant game. Hunters say we're not hippy dippy vegans who starved themselves with soy and spinach. They ate meat and they appreciated the meat. All works of man. When Encarnacion Peña, the last sacred clown of the San Ildefonso Pueblo. Okay, the last sacred clown. I didn't know there was anything called a sacred clown. And Peña is like a Latino last name. Had been dead 4 days. One of his friends remarked, "He is already up there in the mountains, making rain for us." Already have them out making rains for us. Okay, so in those 2 pages, on part 85, we went among the Navajo, the southwestern tribes. We went into the Tewa Pueblos, and we basically learned that the ghost stories are part of the folklore. There is an exception to some, but the Natchez, here we have the Mandans, a lot of them were definitely interpreting the afterworld in a very unique way. Lame Deer gave some commentary about how his Wanagi, his ghost solar spirit, can make trouble. So they definitely have a sort of naughty figure, right? Where there's the naughtiness in the spiritual world that can irritate the living world. So that's a cool theological note, right?